minute or two. It's the first time I really gave any announcement that I was doing a live stream, so at a given time. So in case anybody wanted to tune in, we'll give them a second. I don't know why I'm talking. Nobody's here now. But yeah, we'll minute and a half. See what happens. I guess we'll see if we can chuck this out too. Got to be a way, right? Can't be that difficult. Oh, now how do I get a thumbs up when I don't see anybody in the room? So that means that's not always accurate. Hey there, we're going to start in about another minute. I don't know if you stumbled across this because you saw my post or because you're just thumbing through live streams. I'm Lewis. I do world building for 5e Dungeons and Dragons. That's what we're talking about here in 46 seconds. We've been working our way through the DMG, the 2024 version, and we're most of the way through Chapter 3. I'm going to finish Chapter 3, assuming my battery holds out. So we got somebody that loves world building. That's good, because that is the primary thing I do on my channel. It's not exactly what we're doing right now, but everything I talk about is tied back in to world building. So it looks like announcing that I'm going to stream or go live or whatever you want to call it doesn't make much difference, but this will be posted later. This first part will probably be cut out, maybe not, who knows. Live streams are supposed to be sloppy, right? Lewis Nichols, the name of the channel is World Building Essentials and Exercises, the WBEE. We are working our way through the 2024 Dungeon Master's Guide, Chapter 3, which is DM Tools. We've already done quite a bit of intro. This is part 3 in a little bit of a series, but I guess we'll do it again. Chapter 3 in the DMG is DM Tools. And the new DMG is much more configured to being a tool for new DMs than any Dungeon Master Guide ever has been. Typically, Dungeon Master Guides are just a reference of material. It's magic items. It's odds and ends. To be honest, has been one of the least important books from any given version of Dungeons and Dragons. Now it's a pretty darn good guide to new DMs. And if you're an experienced DM, I don't think you should criticize this book because it's going to welcome more people into the game, and it's good for everybody, and it's still a useful book for people that have been around the game for years or decades. So let's jump in. I am on page 80, Marks of Prestige. Now, what that means is stuff that you can reward your players with that's not just gold and magic. Backdrop that you have world built for the game, for your campaign world. You're going to have important people. You're going to have nobles or government officials or theological heads. You're going to have powerful folks, and early on, they might not be super important. Later on, you might be one of them. Your character might be one of them. But in that huge middle ground, say from 3rd level to 15th level, depending upon the world, there's a lot of stuff they can do for your characters to make things better. So Marks of Prestige, things like giving your party, somebody might give your party the right to develop fortifications on a border. You might be able to draw an income from it. This ties into bastions, which will probably be our next subject for live streams. You can get things like letters of recommendation that help you get into, say, fancy libraries or wizards colleges or anything that is kind of restricted knowledge. It can be a good get out of jail free card too. Medals. I love the idea of giving medals out to players. It's such a simple thing, but it's the kind of thing that's, well, it's different, right? I mean, you give somebody 500 gold, who cares? You throw it in the portable hole and move on. It just becomes, jumbled in with the rest of the gold. But a medal, because you did something cool and you're recognized, you could wear that thing around and let everybody know how important you are. Parcels of land, very similar to fortification, except the land might be just to build a house on. It might be for your wizard's tower. It might just be a plot of land that you have tenant farmers and you gain a little bit of an income. Uh, I did a hugely, my most popular video to date was on economic gaming and how to add economic factors into a D&D campaign. And this is one of the ways to do it. Give them some land and see what they can make of it. Bastions, the bastion rules very much relate to that and how to produce income without just adventuring. Special favors obviously could be anything. It might be the ability to borrow one of the royal ships every once in a while, whether that be on the ocean, a sailing ship, or a sky ship. It could be occasional access to royal records. It could be, anything that you can imagine that the royal princes and princesses might want to dole out. It might just be invitations to, Friday night dinners, whatever. Special rights. Let's see what the DMG thinks a special right is. Reward characters with giving them special rights, which might be articulated in some official document or proclamation. Granted the right to attack pirate ships, which I don't know why you wouldn't be able to attack pirate ships. Or the ships of competitive nations. Basically freebooters or privateers. That's the word. Might receive lifetime room and board at a certain inn or any kind of establishment. So that's what they're thinking of for special rights. You have titles. Keep in mind, not every title is a noble title, so there's plenty of these things to hand out. Maybe you're the royal, part of a special order of city defenders. You don't actually take orders or anything, but you're recognized and have a certain authority because you are, a neighborhood regent or a champion of the crown or whatever. It's basically like a knighthood level of authority within the kingdom. Training. So if you just look at the player's handbook, training is very strict. You get certain things at certain levels, and that's it. But the 2014 DMG mentioned this. This book mentions it right there at the end of page 81. You are well within your powers as a DM to hand out the ability to learn extra skills, extra expertise, extra tool proficiencies, really whatever you want to do. I make tool proficiencies or expertise in tool proficiencies fairly easy. I like the idea of sub specialties and skills. So like if you have history, then maybe you have spent some time learning expertise, and you now have you've spent your time, you spent your favors, and you now have expertise, for some 50-year period of fairly recent history, or expertise when dealing with the history of interplanar conflicts. It can be specific stuff. Now I'm supposed to be going faster. First of all, I got a waning battery, and second of all, I want to get through chapter 3 in this section. So we're gonna try to move forward a little quicker. That was a good couple pages. Uh, we have page 82 is talking about how to handle mobs. Um, I'm not going to get into detail here because essentially a mob is a horde of people. You're doing a little damage here and there, and if you're facing higher level adventurers, they're probably not really threatened unless they're overborn. And one simple little hypnotic pattern or a fireball, tends to dissuade the masses. That doesn't mean they won't come back and burn down your house when you're asleep, but you know. Um, but there's guidance here. I play this stuff down because it's easy, because I've been DMing since the mid '80s. uh, this a lot of stuff in here is for new DMs, and even more experienced DMs. It doesn't hurt you to read it just to get your mind, thinking about get outside the box a little bit in case you've been stuck in a rut. Now I noticed that they've also got things like zombies included in mobs, so you are definitely talking about more than just a bunch of disgruntled farmers. Mob results are getting into what a number of successes. Advantage, disadvantage. Okay, we're talking about dispersing mobs. We're talking about area of effects of mobs. All right, you know what? I'm going to study this and figure out exactly what kind of details they're getting into. It looks like mostly we're talking about spell effects and how many people we can hit. But there are some other issues too. And I'm not going to make you watch me fumble through it. Page 84. Non-player characters. We have a whole page with a list of names. In this day and age, I'm not sure how necessary that is because, let's face it, you can use baby name finder websites. You can use what's my pirate name websites. There's a million resources. But if you don't have them, this helps. And it's got oddball stuff, and very D&D sounding stuff, lots of X's and Z's. But there's some whimsical stuff too. We've got Erky hanging out, Mimsy. Somebody decided to name their kid Pumpkin. It could happen. It talks about alignments and stat blocks and how to handle an NPC. I think the coolest thing here is probably the fact they have these tracking sheets. Which I haven't checked it out, but you're supposed to be able to download these from D&D Beyond. And this organization is key for a DM. This will give you a way to track the names of NPCs that are going to be reoccurring. It gives you some basic information. You can make notes on that sheet and not lose track of it during encounters. And you can keep up with their opinion of the party. If the party does something great or something terrible, is the NPC aware, and does it affect their opinion of the party? And it talks about personalities. It's got a chart for appearances. Do they have a pronounced scar, a birthmark, unusual hair color? Are they bald? Can't trust those bald people. Page 88 and 89 continues into NPCs. It is 100% up to you what pillars of the game you focus on. I'm a world builder. This station is about world building. that is kind of what I focus on. I want to create this rich world of man and nature and magic and the gods, um, and arcane orders and uh, uh, terrible monsters and how they all interact and how they've developed over time and gotten to the point in history where you are running the campaign, and then you get to have all this fun of the interaction with the PCs and see how that drives your collaborative world building and developing past that. That's why uh, I look at the benchmark of Matt Mercer, and you know, but I don't want to play that way because 60 sessions in, they've killed like 3 weeks. I mean, I'm what we're 12 years into my campaign right now, my primary campaign. We've been playing for over 2 years. Yeah, over 2 years now. And we've killed over a decade. And it's so much time to develop and have fun stuff happen. And NPCs is one of those pillars. Some people love to role play these unique shopkeepers and villains and all that stuff. And I think that's important, and I try to provide that aspect, but it has never been something that I've stressed. Although this year I am trying to get a little bit better at it. So don't feel bad if you're struggling for coming up with something for uh, every mundane thing that a character does. You don't need this in-depth personality for everybody. It's okay if your party walks into a shop and buys some stuff and you never once use this funny voice that is this unique NPC. It's just, you walk into the shop, you buy some rope, you're done. Stress what you want to stress, and talk to your players. See what they want to enjoy. There's plenty of players that don't care about that stuff either. That leads into some loyalty. NPCs as party members. Be careful about it. You don't want to overdo it with a DM PC in the group. You definitely don't want them to be the saviors of the group. You don't want them to be the strongest in the group. But they can fill roles. They can be healers. They can be textbooks. They can be, look at that, walking textbook. Uh, they can be, just some fighter support that's like crowd control and not the ones charging off to fight the monster. They can be hirelings. They can be, in for a share. They can be so many things. I mean, just think about how you meet and interact with people during a regular day. Um, if they can, there's no reason there can't be people like players coming and going that just occasionally travel with the group. Um, Again, do what you need to do to tell the story you want to tell. All right, we are up to page 90 and 91. It is a surprisingly large list of poisons. I'm not sure why. I don't know. I guess it's cool. Um, you have the option of whether or not you're going to make these available. Everything has prices with them. It can be stuff that the party sells. It can be stuff that the party buys. Just make sure you know what you're giving them, how much damage it's going to add. Do you need to compensate? And just because they can suddenly use poison, don't make everything immune to poison. Be nice. Let them have their moment. And most of this stuff, I mean, it's pretty minor. Essence of ether. A creature subjected to the essence of ether must successfully make a DC 15 Constitution check, or have the poison condition for 8 hours. That's a lot. The creature also has, the unconscious condition. That's more. While poisoned, the creature wakes up if it takes damage or if another creature takes an action to shake it awake. This is why you don't let monsters travel alone at night. It's dangerous out there. Give them some friends. Uh, it's good to have the reference. That way you don't have to make up your own poisons, right? And it's good to know it's here. So it adds that option. And sometimes you don't want to do that stuff because you don't want to have to make up things. Uh, Renown. I like renown. Uh, the idea of characters becoming rock stars. These are people doing amazing things in the world. People are going to want to know who they are. They're going to have fans. They're going to have groupies. And it's a great way to bug to hassle players. Look at the paparazzi chasing them around. Uh, Difficulty eating a meal without being bothered. You're going to have autograph chasers, uh, and renown builds this, and it also opens up doors. High renown is how you get that first thing that we talked about, right? With the mobs. No, not the mobs. With the marks of prestige. Just because you're high level doesn't mean that you get stuff. Being high level means that you get noticed, and getting noticed gets you stuff. Assuming that you're not antisocial. Uh, I I don't want to tell anybody how to play your character, but playing these antisocial, uh, chaotic to the extreme, because there's nothing wrong with chaotic, uh, players that just want to loot and burn and murder hobo, you're missing out on so much of the game. I don't know. That's just me. Um, so we have losing renown. We have the perks of renown. Um, it's all pretty straightforward. This is also why I like bards. I think having a bard in the group can very much increase your renown if they are actively trying to do so. I think that is one of the jobs of having a bard in the party. Of the bard is supposed to be not just a face man, but a PR man. Hey, this is my team. These guys did this. My fighter's a hero because of this. My cleric is the coolest cleric ever because of this. Look at my monk, what he can do. These guys, do you want to touch them? They're amazing. And then, you've got the druid that doesn't want to have anything to do with anybody and just trying to get the bard to ignore that he's there. But, these things happen. Next up, we have settlements. One of my first 1,000+ view videos was about this section, but in the old DMG. This is for developing settlements on the fly. Who's in charge? What's going on? What are the disasters? What are the adventuring opportunities? Is it a nice place to hang out at? What are the major businesses? Now, this is the fun of world building, sitting down and doing all this stuff. But sometimes your party goes left when they should have went right, and you've got a new town that you want to figure out. And this gets you out of your head a little bit, so everything doesn't always, look the same. It gives you a way to throw some stuff together pretty quick. The defining traits chart has about 15 different interesting little things that you might not have thought about on the cuff. Of why not put them on next to cliffs, or is there a canal running through it? Does it have a wall? Okay, that's the first thing we all always think of is, does it have a wall? But does there happen to be a sprawling cemetery nearby? It's got a little note on settlement sizes. D&D settlement sizes, it never really lines up to what reality does. A village up to 500 people, that makes sense. A town up to 5,000, that makes sense. But then you jump straight to city, And everything from 5,000 to higher is a city. So I don't know. Big towns exist, small cities exist. There's in reality a lot more categories. Um, no, I didn't do it. Yeah, we'll figure this out sometime. Da, da, da. There we go. Um, I don't know. That might have worked, might not have. Moving right along. We always need a reference for siege equipment. We all have ideas of how we want things to work, but when it comes to dealing with rams and trebuchets and such, you need some basis. Make sure things are relatively related to uh, to the rest of the game. How much damage does something do against a wall, and then you can modify it as you need to. You want to decide yourself and your reality that you're building, because this is a world that has fireballs and stuff, so it doesn't have to follow the same physics. Do you want a trebuchet to be able to knock down a wall? Uh, and a lot of it depends upon the wall. A lot of it depends upon development levels. But remember, typically the only thing that's really going to knock down a wall is sapping and digging underneath it and for causing it to collapse that way. There is a lot of fun stuff here. They've got ballistas listed. They've got flamethrowers listed. Keg launchers. Let's not forget about keg launchers. That's a totally D&D thing. Like I said, we need to move around. Yeah, we got a couple more pages here. Yeah, we're not too far off. Okay. Page 98. We're talking about supernatural gifts. Blessings and charms. I love blessings and charms. This is renowned, but along more spiritual. Are you being noticed by more powerful forces? Do you wake up one day with one of these blessings or charms? They can be long term, they can be short term. It might be something like a fairy dragon just deciding, being told by, whoever's running its life, we like this guy. Go follow him around. Help him out when you can. Add a little joy to his life, and see if you can recruit him into doing the things that we need to get done. Because remember, blessings and charms, they're not just rewards, they're also bribes. Charm of feather falling. Once a day after charm. Oh, something that lasts 10 days and lets you feather fall if you need it. Charm of heroism. Same thing, short term. Actually, one use, but lets you avoid a fear effect. You can do this any number of ways. Maybe the player doesn't know they have it, but that makes a headache for you. It can be, some symbol manifesting on their body. It can be they find a 4-leaf clover. It can be a lot of things. These good luck charms can mean something in the game. It's all of this stuff. I've said it 100 times. All of this stuff is just things that you can add to the game to make things just a little bit more varied. I know when I first started DMing, it was, here's a monster, fight the monster. Here's a monster, fight the monster. Hey, it's a trap. Here's a monster, fight a monster. I don't know if new DMs go through that now. because there is more resources. There are more resources. And maybe I was just, an all-around bad DM when I was younger, but my players seem to enjoy the game. So, but there is a wider world out there. No matter what you're doing, you can always add something else. Just don't make it more work than it's worth. Traps. I'm not a big trap user as a DM, but if you need something, this is a reference. Occasionally, it is definitely appropriate for there to be traps around, not just for the sake of it, but logically. Everything from poison darts to a fire cannon statue, you definitely need one of those. And is this how it ends? This is how it ends. We go on to more poison needles. What was this? Poison darts. Apparently there's a difference between poison needles and poison darts. I guess so. Darts shoot at you, and poison needles are whenever you reach into a desk drawer. I don't know. We got spike pits. All kinds of varying amounts of damage. Whoo! 120-foot fall for 13d8 of piercing damage on top of 12d6 of bludgeoning damage. Ow! We have rules on building traps, different levels and save DCs, etc. The greatest enemy of a trap is a high passive perception. I've made a controversial ruling in my campaign that I don't necessarily suggest everybody follow, but I do and am. Is that basically passive perception is for seeing things that are hard to notice, but not intentionally hidden. But to find things that are intentionally hidden usually requires an active check. Now, sometimes I will say that a high passive perception allows you to make that check without asking, that you can tell, that there's something going on. There's clues that you see that would lead you to be cautious. But it doesn't mean that you automatically see some, that, hey, that's a pit trap every time. Because let's face it, by the time you're hitting 10th to 12th level, most parties have that guy that's got a, freaking 24, 25 passive persuasions. Not persuasion, passive perception skill. Let them take advantage of it. Let them have fun with it. They've earned it. They've taken the right skills. They've built their character. There should be advantages, but don't let it ruin the fun. And don't make it a situation that, okay, you're going to be able to see all the traps, so there's no traps. It doesn't necessarily auto-detect everything. So think about how you want to handle this, and you are within your rights to, not just make them a character that can't be surprised, and a character that can't miss hidden stuff. So that is chapter 3. And we pretty much finished on schedule, and my battery's not dead yet, so we're in great shape. My next live show, I think I'm gonna aim probably for Monday. Monday's a holiday for me, and I think we're probably going to start talking about bastions. I like the idea of bastions. I think they can be great for a campaign, and there are ways to world build them into existence. So I'm going to do some reading up. I'm going to use them in a campaign I'm starting. I'm going to use them in my existing campaign, all pretty close to rules written. And we're going to see how things go. Thank you all very much for stopping in. those of you who may still be here and for some reason I can't see you as an attendee, and for those of you who stopped in earlier. And thank you for those of you who are stopping in not in the live stream, but after I publish this, which will probably be, again, Tuesday-ish. I love you all very much. You're all important to this world. And I'll see you next time. Cheers.